I'm your I'm your moderator for today's event. A bit about me. I've been involved with the charity for the past 13 years, starting when I received support as a young child for my stammer. Since then, been a, pa- since then I've been since then I've been a young ambassador, and I'm so incredibly grateful for the experiences that gave. And since then, I've also been a part of the youth panel, where I'm now working with amazing other young people on the panel to address the misconceptions of stammering and also to raise awareness as well. I'm currently studying a degree in physics at the University of Leeds, and I'm also working on a personal project to be able to develop an app to allow anyone around the world to have access to speech and language support, creating a community of people um, all, all around the world through through the competition run by Schmidt Futures and the Rose Trust. I've also joined I've also joined a network of 400 other young people from 60 countries around the world, all working on other projects to drive change. A few things just to let everyone know before we get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat box and we'll address them at an appropriate time. We'll start with an opening session and then go into into the support hub, and then a live demonstration followed by a Q&A at the
You can
end,
leave it on.
and we'll aim to wrap this up by 2:15. So without further ado, please let me introduce you to our speaker, our, our, our absolutely amazing CEO Dr. Ria Bernard. Ria took over as the Chief Executive of Action for Stammering Children in June 2022. She's a qualified speech and language therapist with a clinical and research background in stammering. In 2023, Ria was awarded her PhD in psychology from UCL. Her doctoral research focused on the association between stammering and a risk of adverse mental health in children. Over to you, Ria.
Thank you very much, Thomas. And can I just put on record our thanks to the charity and my personal thanks for all you do in contributing to the charity and raising awareness across the UK. I mean, Thomas is an absolute stormtrooper on this. I feel like he hasn't quite done himself justice in quite how much impact he's had, but there'll be more on that later. So thank you very much, Thomas. So I'm going to keep my remarks quite brief because actually the person that you really want to listen to today and to interact with is our fantastic Support Hub advisor, Grace, who will be speaking for much of this session. But I just wanted to start by saying welcome. This is our first webinar that we've run as a charity, and we're really proud to have so many of you here spending your lunch hour with us. So for those of you who might not know that much about us, we are the UK charity for children and young people who stammer, their families, and the communities who support them. And we've existed for over 30 years. So the Support Hub is built on a wealth of knowledge and experience that's gathered through supporting young people and families over that time. Now, in terms of what we do, at the core of what we do is our mission. And our mission is to ensure that children and young people who stammer have the support, the respect, and the confidence that they need to lead the lives that they choose. And what you will probably see throughout this webinar is our focus as a charity on choice, informed decision making, and giving you the resources and the tools to make those choices to best support your family and your children. So how do we try to achieve that? In a nutshell, there's plenty more of this on the website, so I won't read it all out. But we have three core action areas. The first is information, community, and support. So really providing that information about stammering and how best to support children and young people who stammer in the UK, and creating that community that's so integral when we think about stammering and how isolating it can sometimes be for young people and their families. The second area is championing research. We've done quite a lot of research activity in the last couple of weeks. So if you haven't already, this is a cheeky nudge to join our mailing list so that you can keep abreast of some more of our activity on this area. And our third action area is changing policies and attitudes. We know that actually a lot needs to change to ensure that children and young people get the support that they are looking for, and that should be accessible to all children and young people across the UK. But we also know that actually there's a lot more work to do to raise awareness and improve acceptance around stammering. And Thomas is one of our pioneers on the youth panel who does a lot of work to help us achieve that. So that's who we are in a nutshell. I could go on for the whole hour and 15 minutes about what we do, but that's not why you're here. So I'm just going to keep my comments relatively brief about what we were thinking when we introduced the support hub. The Stammering Support Hub is something we're really delighted with. It's been a project that's taken quite some time to get off the ground, and we've spent a lot of time developing it. And we were delighted to bring Grace into the fold earlier this year to really steer it and develop it further. So just in terms of setting the scene, we know as a charity that it can be fun, it can be very difficult, it can be anxiety inducing, it can be overwhelming, it can be challenging to find the information you need to get access to the support that you're looking for. And so the whole idea of the Stammering Support Hub is really to empower parents and caregivers in particular. And we do that by hopefully providing you with the information that you need to make informed decisions about the support that's right for you and your family. And that's really at the core of the Stammering Support Hub. And that's what we're really aiming to achieve. The Stammering Support Hub, though, is slightly broader than that, and that's why we're keen to make sure we're reaching all of our audiences. So it's pretty important to us, and we recognise the importance of it in reaching more of the 8% of children and young people who stammer across the UK. We wanted a way to bring children and young people together, to bring them into the Action for Stammering Children community, connecting them with one another, families with one another, and ultimately saying, you know what, we live and breathe stammering, so come join us, and we can support you as you need and wish. Other ways that the support hub was there to really support our mission was connecting young people through our projects and with our youth panel, such as Thomas and some of our other members of the youth panel. And also connecting professionals with those resources and those programs that we offer that they might think the young people they work with will benefit from, and making it much more accessible to find that information. And finally, ensuring those education and health professionals have the support that they need from us to support the children and young people that they work with and come into contact with in their professional roles. So the hub has really been designed to cater for the preferences and the needs of the various groups that we support. And you're going to hear a lot more about that from Grace. So I'm not going to go any further. And Grace is smiling because I think she's relieved that I'm not going to go any further than that. Now, what I will say, just to kind of finish off my opening remarks and setting the scene, is that since April, we have had the fabulous Grace in role as a support hub advisor. And in that time already, she's supported a number of parents and caregivers, speech and language therapists and young people to help them realise their potential and help them connect with others. And we've seen the benefits in a relatively short period of time already. This webinar is really here to give you an overview of the purpose and the features of the Stammering Support Hub so that you know where you can come if you are looking for that information. But also, we hope that it will reassure you that we're here to provide whatever you need from us. That's what we exist to do as a charity, and the Stammering Support Hub is one of the best ways to start that conversation with us and start your journey into our community. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the webinar.
Thank you very much, Ria. Now, now, moving on to the next item, please introduce Grace. Grace spent many years supporting individuals and families throughout their treatment journeys in adolescent and adult mental health services. She now she she has she has gone on to she's she has she has she sorry she has now she's now gone on to work as a speech and language a therapy assistant in stroke rehabilitation before joining Action Stammering Children in March 2024. Over to you, Grace.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Ria, for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar this afternoon. It's a really exciting time for us to introduce the Hub, and we're hoping that you'll come away from here with a really clear understanding of what the Hub is. Ria's already spoken a bit about why it's been created. I'll talk a bit more about that. The support and information that's available on it. So I plan to start my session with, sorry, one second, just going to change my screen. A bit of an introduction to the Hub, a bit of background, why it was created, and then I'll move on to sharing my screen with you and showing you the Action for Stammering Children website and how to access the Hub through there. So I thought it might be helpful to start with a bit of background into why the Support Hub was created. Obviously, at the heart of our work here at Action for Stammering Children is children and young people who stammer. And Ria's already mentioned that 8% of children in the UK have a stammer. And our purpose is to make sure that all children who stammer have the support, respect, and confidence to live the life that they want to lead. So we are here for them, as well as for their families and the health and educational professionals who work with them. So we think as part of that it's incredibly important that support should be really easily accessible and timely for those that want it. The Hub was created with the aim of being a space where all individuals from within the stammering community can come with their questions and come away with clear, reliable information and tailored support if needed. As Thomas has said, if you have any questions at any point, please do just make a note of them and I'll do my best to help with answering them in the question and answer session. So starting with the young people who stammer, if you feel you need it, the Support Hub is there for you to offer support in many different ways and information in many different ways. If you're looking for information about finding further support or accessing speech and language therapy locally to you, you can use the Hub for that. Or perhaps you've got questions about stammering, or you're looking for resources, either for yourself or to share with friends or family, you can come to the Hub with that too. Perhaps you'd like to find out about the many projects that we offer to meet other young people who stammer. Speak with them, ask questions, share your experiences. We do have several projects aimed at young people from between the ages of 12 to 25. This includes our residential and online courses, which focus on areas such as self-esteem, building confidence, building a peer support network. Thomas is part of our youth panel, so he's the expert there. But we have people from all over the UK who have joined the youth panel to support our projects and campaigns for change. So if you're interested in that, that's another thing that you can find out about through the Hub. You might be at a point in your life where you're thinking about further study or about the kind of career you'd like to embark on. So if you're at that point, we have mentoring support available. You could be paired with a professional who stammers to help with any questions you might have about studying or navigating the world of work with a stammer. These are people who have stammers themselves or who have previously stammered who work with us. For similar reasons, you might like to take a look at one of our most popular resources, which is our Stambassador videos. Our STEM ambassadors are, again, adults who either have a stammer or have previously stammered, who work with us in many different ways to support the young people that we work with. And they share their experiences of their career journeys to offer support and inspiration to our young people. So as you can probably tell, we have so many things that we are really excited to tell young people about. So please do get in touch, send me a message if you'd like to find out more about anything that I've mentioned. I'll go on to show you about the various ways that you can contact me in the second part of the session. For families, we are here to help you support your child. The Hub is very much here for you too. You may feel like you have 101 questions, whether your child has recently started stammering or whether it's been longer. Whatever those questions are, bring them to the Hub. We'll help you to work through. We can help you to feel more confident in your understanding of stammering. We can talk about the therapy and support options if needed and help you find the path that's right for your child. As you'll see shortly when we look at the website together, we have a wealth of frequently asked questions that we're asked by parents often. And we've got lots of really helpful evidence-based articles with answers to those. So you may find what you're looking for on the website, or you may want to contact me as the Support Hub advisor. One of the most frequent reasons that families reach out to us on the Hub is to ask, what can we do at home to support our child? And we've been able to share tips, information articles, and resources, such as the Penguin app, which provides tools to help you feel more confident supporting your child and yourself. And for families of older children, it's also been great to share information about the courses and projects that I mentioned earlier. So these are some of the ways that families can use the Hub. The Hub is also there for professionals. We're always thrilled to hear from education professionals contacting the Hub, as we are so passionate about promoting stammering awareness and support within the school community. We've had teaching assistants contact us and other school staff reach out to ask about our resources and guidance in supporting pupils they work with who stammer. We've been able to share our top tips for teachers, posters for schools, book recommendations and videos. And most recently, we've been really excited to launch the sign up to register for our Stammer Awareness Toolkit for primary schools. And we've had messages come through the Support Hub from people interested in signing up for this and who've had questions about it. So if you're an education professional, please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions you may have. Last but certainly not least, the Hub is there for health professionals such as health visitors and GPs, and of course also for speech and language therapists. For health professionals, we can help with any questions you may have. If you're working with families of children and young people who stammer, you might be looking for information about signposting to local services. We can support you to find that information. It's always really great to connect with speech and language therapists as well. If you're a speech and language therapist, you might be interested to find out the ways that the Hub can support you in your work. Perhaps you're keen to know what else is available to the young people you work with, such as our residential courses and career support projects. One example of where it's been really rewarding, being able to provide more personalized support to young people whose speech and language therapists have got in contact with me through the Hub, is when they've sent me a message to ask about a young person they support if there's any information or experience we may have had with individuals navigating a specific career with a stammer. So we've been able to have a look through our wonderful ambassadors, contacts, and other contacts within the stammering support community who come from such a wide range of career backgrounds. And we've been able to facilitate discussions between them and that young person about pursuing that career. That's just a few examples of why professionals have contacted us and why you might like to do so too. So I really hope this has given you all a bit of an idea about why the Hub has been created and who it's there for. It's something we're really, really excited about, and we're thrilled to be supporting so many people through. For the next part of my session, I'm aiming to show you what the hub looks like on our website and how to access the support and information available through it. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully you can see that. Thank you, Ria. Saw the thumbs up. So this is the Action for Stammering Children homepage. And you'll quite quickly see that it's separated up into different areas depending on who you are, so that we can quickly get you to the right support for you. So up here, you'll see there's parents, children, young people, professionals, and schools, and that's repeated down here. And that's very similar to the way it's laid out on our dedicated support hub page. So if you go up here to this blue icon, looking for help, this will take you through to the Stammering Support Hub page. The first thing you might notice is the search bar here. So if you already know what you're looking for, you could type something in here. I'll just do something quite broad, but school, and it will suggest articles that you might find helpful for your question. But if you've got a bit of time to have a real browse through the Support Hub page, there's so much on there that we hope you'll find really helpful, starting with our top tips. So going on to this top tip page, as I said, it's separated up into areas for the different members of our stammering community. Top tips for young people, for supporting well-being and supporting speaking. Top tips for parents and caregivers for conversation and for when listening to your child. And then for schools, there's tips for collaborative working to support the child, creating inclusive classroom environments, encouraging participation, and being a good listening partner. So I'll just click on one just to show you an example. As you can see, it's really nice and succinct, and this is all evidence-based information. All our articles have been carefully researched, and we've talked with young people who stammer to make sure that their voice is being heard in the answers we give to people through the website. So if I come back here. Oh, and it's also worth just noting here, we've said not all ideas will be relevant to you, but we hope that some of the information on these pages will be helpful. I think this is important just because we know that one person's stammer differs so much to the next, and so does their experience of stammering. But we really hope that there'll be things that you find helpful on this page. Back onto the Stammering Support Hub page here, we've got frequently asked questions. And again, these are divided up for our different audiences. There's lots more here for parents and carers, as you can see, parents and caregivers, and more here for schools. And again, just an example of what the article answer will look like. You'll see at the bottom as well, was this article helpful? Please do click on these. This is helpful for us to get some feedback from our audiences. Our frequently asked questions are regularly updated. So let us know if there's something that you'd really like to see, and we'll make sure that we can get something added in there. Back to the Support Hub page here. If you've come to the hub with a question and you haven't found what you're looking for, then you might like to get in touch with me, the Support Hub advisor. And there's many ways that you can do that. The first one you'll see here is submit a request. So if you click on here, it'll take you to a page where you can just put in a bit of information about yourself and your question, and this will submit an email to me. And I will do my best to respond to that as soon as I'm next online. I work every weekday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Down here, you'll notice that we've got our social media listed. So you could also send me a direct message if you'd prefer to contact me that way through Facebook, Twitter, or X, and Instagram. And I can respond to you through that. Or you'll notice down here in the corner, there's this little icon here. This is our Stammer bot. And again, the Stammer bot is great at suggesting articles if you've got questions in mind. So you could type something in here. I'll just do an example. One second. The Stammer bot will then make some suggestions of articles that might help with answering your question. And if that's helpful, then you can click yes. If not, you can click no and go on to ask the Stammer bot another question, or it's not showing it at the moment, but just before it was here and it would come up again if you'd click no. You can say talk to a human, and when I'm online, I'll be able to respond in real time through the Stammer bot. But please do still ask me a question even if I'm not online, and it will come through to me when I'm next online. If you prefer to contact me through a telephone call, that is also an option. You can find the answer from our homepage. So just at the top of the page here, if you press home. And the telephone number is down here. So all our options are here again. So for the Stammering Support Hub page, we hope that you'll find this really useful for your questions and that you'll come away from it with the answers that you're looking for. And if you don't, then please do contact us. But please also do take a look at the various things that you can find in the dedicated areas on our website. When you click on them, you'll see that we've got the frequently asked questions again here, but also things that I mentioned earlier in my session. We've got Ambassador videos, lots of resources. Information about all of our projects. The youth panel. And then back to how to contact me if you can't find what you're looking for. So I really hope that that has provided you with a really clear understanding of what the hub looks like, what's available on it, and how to find what you need to find. And if you can't, how to contact me. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Grace. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can go and unmute and go and speak them as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas.
So I have there's a lot of questions. The first question is, what support do you need from the Stammering community in order to effectively use and develop the support hub? I'm not sure who would like to answer that.
Grace, do you want me to kick it off?
I feel like we might have a similar answer, but you go ahead.
I feel like we might do as well. I think that just kind of to say that in terms of kind of the support from the stammering community, one of the biggest ones is just sharing the support hub, is saying to individuals that you know, to families and to professionals that this resource does exist. You know, we offer it because we want to ensure that more and more young people get the support that they're looking for. And that might be therapy, that might be meeting other young people who stammer, that might be getting involved in campaigns, things like that. So that would be really helpful. And I think the other thing is just to mention what Grace was talking about, is that those knowledge articles on the support hub, the kind of the static support hub that she was just running us through, you know, they're informed by our community and things change. So if you've got questions and they're not answered, just let us know. And what we will also be doing is reflecting on the questions coming through to Grace, and monitoring those, so that we can create new articles and continually update them as well.
Thanks, Ria. That is what I would say. Just any feedback you can give us, any questions that you feel we could be answering that we haven't, any experiences that you want to share with us. All of this really helps us to shape the support that we're able to give, and make it how you'd like it to be. We hope.
Thank you very much. And I have the other question from Annabelle. Is there any interface through which I think that's the youth panel can connect and chat with to others who stammer. I think you mentioned that there might be something.
Yes, absolutely. I'm quite happy to come in quickly on this because this is a question that we've dealt with before, which is a really, really good question. So the idea of the support hub is that that Grace will be your kind of first point of call, and much of the time Grace will be able to provide you with the signposting needed to get you where you want to be, but we also have our kind of broader community. So the idea is that when young people do get in touch with us, one of the first things I know that Grace does is contact the youth panel and suggest putting young people in touch with them, and that's kind of becoming part of the youth panel community, I suppose, if that answers your question. But Grace might have extra to add on to that.
I'm sorry, I would completely agree with what you've said.
So I have another question from Michelle. Did I hear that there is an app? May have misheard. Thank you.
Hi, Michelle. If you're referring to the Penguin app, which I mentioned, this is an app that has been created in collaboration, I believe, with us and Stammer. And it's free to download. We can link that up in a minute if you're interested. And it's aimed at supporting parents to support their child. And it consists, I think, of a 10-day program of tips and kind of activities and things to do with your child.
Thank you. And I have some great feedback from Connor as well. So thank you very much for that, Connor. And I have another question from Sophia. I've read about your upcoming schools toolkit, which sounds fantastic. Do you have any initiatives or resources to help teachers signpost parents or caregivers to this resource?
We certainly do. It's a very exciting initiative. I'm delighted that Grace included it in her presentation. It is the second of our nationwide projects that underpin the new strategy that we unveiled last October for International Stammering Awareness Day. It's a very good question. On our website, so Grace was showing you different sections of our website. If you have a look under schools, there is a link through to more information about the Stammer Awareness Toolkit. We also have a blog post about it on our blog. That we can add into the chat shortly. What I would say is that the Stammer Awareness Toolkit is something that we will be unveiling next month to mark International Stammering Awareness Day. It's one of many things that we'll be doing for ISAD this year. And the whole idea of the resource is it's a practical resource that is accessible and for the first year fully funded as well for schools. And it's available to schools across the UK who may have children who stammer in their class and are looking to do a little bit of training just to increase their knowledge about stammering and the impact it can have on children and young people, but also to give some really helpful practical tips and strategies for creating a more inclusive classroom and signposting to external organisations. So it's something that it's very much a watch this space, but we do have a waiting list. So if you are interested, please do sign up and encourage your schools to sign up, and we'll be in touch in October with how to access that.
Thank you very much, Ria. And did anyone else have any other questions or feedback or anything? Annabelle says, how much time do school staff need to set aside in order to get the most out of to get the most out of the toolkit?
That's a really good question. And we are probably going to have a webinar on this, Annabelle, by the way. So we'll make sure that we notify you of that. But essentially, the toolkit consists of 4 modules. They can be worked through at their own pace. So teachers and teaching assistants all and the senior leadership team can work through it at their own pace. They get access to it for 1 year and they can return to it as they wish. And what we have done in the development of the toolkit is worked very closely with our community. So we did quite a lot of work at the beginning, scoping out, as you say, recognising those time limitations on education professionals and the whole kind of all that needs to be squished into a school day. I know, as I was a speech and language therapist in schools, it's tough to find that time to carve out for this. So we have developed it in a way in which the content is reflects what young people and teaching staff and speech and language therapists felt should be included in it. The format of it has been very much informed by the experiences of teachers and teaching assistants and speech and language therapists who specifically work in schools. So in answer to your question, it can take as long or as short as individuals would like, but we'd say a few hours really, but broken up as required over that year, and you're able to return to it at any point as well. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. And does anyone else have any other feedback or thoughts? Thank you very much, Juliet, for your comment. Yeah.
We really appreciate your support with sharing the resource. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Juliet. That's fantastic news. Honestly, that's a really big win for us out of this this webinar. So that'll be super. Thank you. Thomas, may I ask a question?
Yes, yeah.
I just had a question, Grace. You talked about the support for parents, and I know that you are able to give quite a lot of support around kind of what is available locally to families. And I just wondered if you could elaborate on that a little bit more for the other people on the webinar.
Yes, of course. So it is one of our most frequently asked questions on the hub, is parents and carers contacting me to ask, how can I access speech and language therapy for my child? And there are various routes for doing this, including going through the GP, or if your child's in an education setting, going through the special educational needs coordinator that can help with a referral. But people sometimes don't realize that their local services might offer you the option to self-refer. So you can fill out a referral form for your child yourself. And I know that Ria and some of the staff here have found out throughout the UK which services offer that option. So we can let you know if you let us know where you are based, then we can find out where your local services are and whether that option is available. And that takes away the need to go through waiting for an appointment with a GP or with a school professional, and hopefully just speed up that referral for you if it's needed.
I also have another question from Sophia. Grace, how is the support hub currently being used to the most? How do you envisage it? How do you envisage it developing in the future?
Thanks, Sophia. The support hub's most often being used by parents and carers, as I said, contacting us to ask, how can I support my child who's recently started stammering? That's quite a common question we're asked. And also, how can I access support and therapy? How do I envisage it developing in the future? It would be great to have our younger audiences contacting us more. We'd love to hear from our younger audiences why you might like to contact us, what you'd be interested to get from the hub. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see more of in the future. It'd be great to have those connections being built with our younger audiences.
Thank you. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure is I'm not sure if your question, Sharon, has been answered, but if not, just uh, yeah. And I have another question from uh, Ian. Do you have a date for the next year's residential trip for children who stammer, please? Samira.
Grace, do you want me to take this one?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Sure, of course. Samira, in terms of the next residential trip, there is actually one coming up. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. It's at the end of October, and it runs through to, so it's from the 27th of October through to the 2nd of November. And they, so Talking Out are, for those of you who don't know about our residential, so we partner with Talking Out, which is a speech and language therapy practice based in North Yorkshire, who we fund places for teenagers to attend those courses. We do 2 residentials per year, usually one around May and one around October, and an online one in either Easter or February, depending. And we fully fund those places. Now, those are the courses that Grace was talking about at the beginning around resilience and self-esteem, but also a chance for young people to meet each other. Now, the course at the end of October is currently accepting referrals. So if those dates sound good to you, Samira, then please do make a referral, and we can send you some information about that and how to do that. It's done through their website, but we can send you any information that you want, and I'm sure Grace will be happy to follow up with that. In terms of next year, we haven't got the dates yet. We usually will be looking at around a kind of March, April date for the online, and then the residential would be probably May half term. But we will be releasing those dates after this one. So sorry, I don't have a clear answer for 2025. Thomas, do you want me to take Annabelle's question because it's related to talking out?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Thank you very much. So in terms of referral criteria, that's all dealt with by our partners, Annabelle. Essentially, referrals can come from a speech and language therapist, if a child is under a speech and language therapist, or it can come from the parents or caregivers, as that self-referral is possible. And it's just a simple form. And it's very much just kind of contacting, talking out, and explaining why you would like to. Yes, they're all questions I would encourage you to ask our partners, Ben Bolton Grant and Teresa, just in case they've had any changes. I think it depends on the group each year and the individual case. But broadly speaking, the referral criteria is quite open.
I also have another question from Connor saying, does the answers feed back into the FAQs? Sounds like a great developing resource.
Yes, absolutely.
I also there's also another also there's also another question from Sharon. Is stammering? I'm very sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Um, is I'm very sorry. I think I'm going to completely butcher how to pronounce that word, but yeah.
Thanks very much, Thomas. This is Sharon's message question. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Super. Thank you. So we actually have an interesting knowledge article about this, Sharon. So what we would say is yes, to some extent, we are not completely clear on the cause of stammering, despite the fact that we know that people have been affected by stammering for centuries, and that's a priority for research. We do know from the research that the cause is likely to be kind of multifactorial, so it's likely to be an interaction of lots of factors, one of them being genes. In terms of kind of hereditary, for some children and young people, they may stammer, and they may have other family members who do stammer, and that may be a factor that contributes. But there's much more to understand there. I hope that answers your question. And please do have a look at the hub. I can see Grace knowing exactly the knowledge article that I'm thinking of for you.
Another question from Michelle saying, can a stammer be caused by a um can a stammer be caused by a traumatic event, or is it coincidental, I think?
So in answer to your question, we would say that usually that's not the case, that stammering is part of development. There are different types of stammering that I should probably just say that relate to this question. So we might talk about developmental stammering, which is stammering that occurs as children develop speech and language. And then there is acquired stammering, which might have an onset later in life, and that might be the result of other factors. Some of them might be injury, or particularly significant trauma, such as PTSD, but that's not really an area that we do focus on so much. We're much more about developmental stammering. So I guess going a little bit back to my previous answer, there's still much more to do on understanding the cause of stammering, but we do think that it's factorial, and that there's an interaction between lots of different factors. But what's really important is just to say that it isn't necessarily okay, there's no evidence to suggest that is anything to do with children being more anxious or having a particularly anxious predisposition or anything like that. So we would caution against that sort of thinking. I hope that answers your question, Michelle. And please read our new report on research priorities. That might be of interest to you.
And there's another question from Samira. Do you have any support for parents with their child do you have any support for parents when their child refuses any support? I'm not sure who would like to answer that.
Grace, did you have anything that you wanted to?
I was just thinking it might be something that you might like to chat through, the kind of whys, why your child might be saying they're refusing the support. Might be helpful to have a bit more of a kind of personalized chat with you to help you find the right answers for that and how we can support you with that, if that's okay.
Yeah, if anyone else has any last thoughts or any of the questions, I think we've for 5 minutes after the meeting, so.
Can see that the comment from Juliet there, and I'm really interested to hear more.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Juliet, I'm afraid. But I would agree with what Grace said, that I think your point absolutely I agree with. And it is certainly kind of thinking about desensitization and acceptance is really interesting. I feel like we need longer to discuss. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really helpful feedback. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for all of your questions and also your feedback. I'll pass it on to Ria for any closing thoughts or remarks. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Thomas. And I'll keep this brief because I know everybody will have their afternoon to get on with. But just really a big thank you for joining us this afternoon. We've really enjoyed it, so we hope that you have too. And we hope you enjoyed listening to the information about this resource and how it hopefully will be useful to you in whatever way that you work with and support children and young people who stammer across the country. Just a reminder, you can access the support hub weekday mornings. If you want to talk to Grace about anything specific and you can't find the answers on the Knowledge Hub, you've got direct message on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You've got a phone number there. You can leave us a voicemail if you can't get hold of us. And also there's a Stammer bot, and we love the Stammer bot, and it can be really handy. So we will continue to update those knowledge articles. If there is stuff there that's just missing, let us know. What we will also be doing is updating those knowledge articles in relation to new research that's published. So hopefully next time we see you, we might have a clearer answer to some of those questions. So that's just to kind of add that. Now, Grace mentioned about some of the questions that came up today. It might be useful to contact her directly. And so I've just added it in the group chat for you. So that's just one way of contacting Grace. But I'll leave it there and just say a big thank you to Grace and to Thomas, and also to Healer for organising from our end. And thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.